So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. So guys, we've just witnessed Joshua Buatsi beat Bolotniks in the 11th. I think it was it the 12th round he knocked him out of the 11th. I can't remember. But yeah, it was a brutal finish, a brutal knockout. What did you guys make of the fight? What did you make of the performance of Buatsi? Listen, here's the thing. I think Buatsi is a very technically very good fighter. He's obviously an Olympian bronze medalist. So he's a good fighter. There's no doubt about it. Buatsi can fight. I think there's no denying that. And I think, he's definitely a prospect, for the future in terms of looking to win world titles, etc. But if I'm honest with you, from what Eddie Hearn is saying and where they want to take him, and they're talking about him fighting Bivol and that next, looking at that performance, and I don't want to be critical, I don't want to sound like a hater, but there was a lot of weaknesses there in terms of defensively. He wasn't as sound. He was getting caught with a lot of flush shots. And here's the thing: if they had no intention of putting him in a world title fight, the performance was really good. It was a very good learning experience for him, because that guy Bolotniks was tough. He made Buatsi work for everything. He was landing a lot of shots. Buatsi's obviously got a very good chin, and I think he's proven that. He's got a very good chin. I saw that in the Silic fight, so he can definitely take a punch. That isn't an issue for him. But it was stamina. He definitely tired. I think in the 6th round he threw a lot of shots, and I felt like he blew himself out. And then in the end, he managed to get back and get his second win, and he ended up stopping him in the 11th. But there was a lot of rocky times, and in that fight, where you thought, oh my God, is Bolotniks going to get on top here? Is he going to start, getting to Buatsi? But, Buatsi managed to, hold his own and eventually force a stoppage. But like I said, I think if Buatsi wants to go to world level, I think the defense, firstly, has to be improved a little. I think he needs to work on not getting caught with flush shots like that, because if that was someone like Callum Johnson, it could be, a different fight completely. Like I said, I think Buatsi, no doubt about it, he's talented. You can tell that from his amateur pedigree, and then what he's done as a pro so far, and the fact that Andy Lee was pointing out he's very good, he's very well balanced. He's got every shot in the book. He's got great shot selection. You could see that his ring IQ is improving under Virgil Hunter. It's just that, like I said, fighting at world level, right, and getting caught flush like that is dangerous. It's very dangerous. So he's gonna have to become a lot more cute, a lot better defensively if he wants to be successful at world level against those guys, because someone's gonna get you. Someone like Beterbiev, he's too strong. He punches too hard. You can't take flush shots off someone like that. They're gonna get you. They're gonna wear you down. They're gonna hurt you. Even Joe Smith, Bivol, he's not as much a bigger puncher. However, Bivol is probably the best boxer in the light heavyweight division in terms of his technical ability. I think Bivol's probably the better out of the lot. And that's a tough fight for Buatsi, because Bivol's, like I said, a lot more gifted than Bolotniks. He's a lot faster. He's very good with his feet. He's a good mover. Great hand speed. So Bivol for me is a tough fight, and Beterbiev also a tough fight. I personally think they should take him down the Joe Smith Jr. route, but even that's a tough fight, to be honest with you. And if I was to be honest, if he was to fight any of those 3 next, I would put him as the underdog. And to be honest with you, I don't think they're going to go down this route. I would love to see him fight Callum Johnson. I'd love to see him fight Callum Smith. The only problem I think that we're going to have with making those fights is Eddie's going to look at it and think Callum Johnson is potentially as dangerous as fighting Bivol. So why not just fight Bivol? Because Callum Johnson and Buatsi, for me, that's a 50-50 fight. And I'll tell you why. Callum Johnson himself isn't very good defensively. And also, his chin is a bit suspect. From what I've seen so far, he gets clipped and he can definitely be hurt. However, For me, Callum Johnson, out of all the British fighters in the light heavyweight division, he's the biggest puncher by a mile. He's got the kind of punch that can wipe you out, and he's done it. He hurt Beterbiev. He put Buglioni, he knocked him out, and he's a big puncher. There's no doubt about it. He's a big guy, and he can really crack. And this is why I say, with what I saw from Buatsi, not just in this fight, but in the Silic fight as well, Buatsi got caught with a lot of shots. It would be interesting to see if he would be able to take those kind of shots of Callum Johnson, because Callum Johnson hits very hard, right? And I don't know if anyone can take flush shots like that of Callum Johnson consistently, especially the right hand. Callum Johnson, he's got serious punching power. And I'm not just talking punching power at British, I'm talking punching power at world level. He's dangerous. He put Beterbiev down. For me, I thought he could even stop Beterbiev. He came close. Beterbiev got hit with, I think it was a left hook, and Beterbiev, he dropped, and he was on shaky legs. So Johnson can really crack. So for me, that would be a very dangerous fight for Buatsi. But this is why I think Eddie Hearn's looking at it and he's thinking, why fight Callum Johnson when we can go straight in to a world title fight, which would be just as risky, and it's obviously for more to gain. It's for a world title. If Buatsi loses that, he can always come back. So I totally understand the fact that they would probably want to go and fight for a world title, because you've got more to gain. Even if you were to lose, Johnson is a 50-50 fight for me against Buatsi. That's a tough fight. That's a very tough fight. So personally, I think the fight is just as risky. The fight is just as risky because Johnson, with what we've seen with Buatsi so far, Johnson hits very hard. And he could easily knock Buatsi out. But Buatsi could easily knock Johnson out. Although I don't think Buatsi has the punching power of a Johnson, I think Buatsi is technically the more sound fighter. So he's technically more gifted than Johnson. However, defensively and the weaknesses that we've seen, Johnson could definitely take advantage of that, because Bolotniks, for me, I don't think he's as powerful as Johnson. I think Johnson hits very hard. But for some reason, I don't think they'll make that fight. I would love to see it, and it would be a great fight. I think, a few years ago, they were building Buatsi yard. But I actually think that Johnson-Buatsi is the fight. Now, Johnson is with Frank Warren, I think. So I don't know whether they're going to make that fight. And if Johnson was with Eddie Hearn, it may have been a lot easier for them to make that fight. And even then, they may not make that fight because Eddie Hearn looks at Joshua Buatsi as a future superstar. Johnson's a lot older. I don't know. I think Johnson's about 30-something. So, he's not young, and he hasn't got that star appeal that Buatsi has. So there's a lot more to gain from Buatsi in terms of making him a star. He's younger. He's come from the Olympic. He's got the Olympic pedigree, the amateur pedigree. They're building him into a star. I think he's under Anthony Joshua's management. So there's a lot going for Buatsi. They're trying to build him into a star. And I think they would rather him go down the world title shot route and get a fight with Bivol, because they're thinking the Johnson fight might just be as dangerous. I would love to see the Johnson fight, but I don't think it's a realistic fight because I don't think they're going to take him down that route, if I'm honest. Even though I think they should, because before I think a guy goes on to fight for a world title, we need to know if he's the best in Britain. Like, so far, we don't even know if Buatsi is the best in Britain. There's Lyndon Arthur, Anthony Yarde, Callum Johnson, Joshua Buatsi. We haven't even seen these guys fight each other, so, and add Callum Smith to that. And again, Callum Smith, would they be willing to fight Callum Smith? That would be a very tough fight as well. Callum Smith's a very good fighter. And let's not forget, Callum Smith's a former world champion. I know at a lower weight class, but nevertheless, Callum Smith is a huge. He'd be taller than Buatsi. Callum Smith is huge. I never understood how that guy could make 168. So that's another guy That's very, very dangerous for me, for Buatsi. So to be honest with you, I think there's a lot of, I think that before talking about world title shots, I think they need to clean up in-house, in Britain. Because to be honest with you, let's look at Buatsi, Lyndon Arthur, Callum Johnson, Callum Smith, Joshua Buatsi. Who's the best out of those guys? Who's the best out of those guys? For me, I would put Callum Smith, even though he's never fought at the weight, I would put him number one out of all those guys. And then I would say it's second spot is between Johnson and Buatsi. And that's why I want to see that fight. And then the winner of that fight goes on to fight for a world title. Because let's not forget, Johnson's fought for a world title. Johnson came close against Beterbiev, but he wasn't quite good enough, right? If Buatsi puts in a statement against Johnson, then for me, he's ready. I personally think he needs one more big fight before a world title shot. And I think the next fight should be against Johnson or someone of that level. You know, I don't think Callum Smith and Buatsi is going to be made, because I think Callum Smith's going to go straight to world level. I'm not saying he's going to go straight to a world title shot, but I don't think he's going to waste his time fighting the British level guy. I think he's going to go straight to like fighting, you know, a well-ranked world level fighter. You know, you might see him in there with maybe a John Pascal, a Badu Jack, a Marcus. Like Callum Smith could go straight into that kind of level, to be honest with you. Maybe they might give him a gimme, but personally, I think Callum Smith, or where he's at in his career, I think he could go straight to, you know, world level. Would Callum Smith beat John Pascal? I'd favour him to at this stage. You know, Pascal's old. I know, did Pascal fail the drugs test? So he might be out. Is he banned? I don't know what the situation is. But there's other guys out like heavyweight. There's that Sullivan Barrera. He'd be a good fight for Callum Smith. You know, I feel like there's now a time for Buatsi to take that big breakout fight like with a Callum Johnson. You know, I think that for me would tell me if he's ready. If he disposes of or destroys Callum Johnson, then you definitely would be pushing for a world title shot. However, right now, I think it may be a little bit too soon against Beterbiev or Bivol. I don't see him winning those fights. But within time, you know, if like I said, if he has a fight with Callum Johnson, then a Bivol fight makes sense. But again, Callum Johnson and Bivol are completely different styles. Callum Johnson's a huge puncher, not as technically as good as Bivol, but he's a massive puncher. Bivol's not as big a puncher, but Bivol's technically more sound, more gifted fighter. For me, a better version of Buatsi. And the other thing I noticed with Buatsi, I think at times he can be quite wild. You know, when he's going for the finish, he can throw a lot of wild shots. Even when he's, I feel like listen, he's still learning. He's not a finished article yet. He's still learning. He's still improving his game. And he's got one of the best trainers in the world in Virgil Hunter. So let's see how much he improves. Let's see how he gets on. And let's see if he can go on to win a world title. I wish him all the best. What do you guys think? Let me know what you think. Can Buatsi win a world title? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.